years, Nate, and all of it was a lie. Did you really think I wouldn't find out?
Put the mic down, Adriana. You don't know what you're doing. Don't ruin this for us.
Us. There is no us. Not after Alaska.
Her voice sliced through the ballroom like shattered glass. Gasps rippled across the room as glittering chandeliers reflected a marriage collapsing in real time. He grabbed her arm, his perfect smile cracking under the weight of secrets too heavy to hide. Put the mic down, Adriana. But she didn't. Not tonight, not after Alaska, not after what she'd uncovered. This wasn't a party anymore. It was a reckoning. My name is Adriana Cole. 4 years ago, I was an ambitious attorney, until I fell for the wrong man and let him turn my life into a gilded cage. I thought I had everything, until our 4th anniversary, when the truth exploded under those glittering lights. And that was only the beginning of the fiercest battle of my life. Before I share my story, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Hit like and subscribe if you've ever overcome something you thought you couldn't. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. The mahogany table stretched between us like a battlefield. I remember the exact moment I first saw Nathaniel Carrington, not because he was handsome, though God knows he was, but because of the way he smiled when I walked into that boardroom, like a wolf spotting prey. "Ms. Cole," he said, his voice smooth as aged whiskey, "I hear you're the one who's been causing my legal team headaches." I set my briefcase down with deliberate precision. 29 years old, youngest partner at Brennan and Associates, and I'd earned every second of it. "Mr. Carrington, your company's illegal dumping in the Hudson has been causing headaches for 30,000 New York residents. I'm just here to cure them." The room went silent. His executives shifted uncomfortably in their Italian leather chairs. But Nate? He leaned back and laughed. Actually laughed. "Show me what you've got," he said. For 2 hours, I dismantled Atlas Global's environmental violations piece by piece. Satellite images, water samples, testimonies from families whose children had developed mysterious rashes. His lawyers scrambled to counter, but I'd done my homework. I always did. When I finished, the silence felt electric. Nate stood, walked around the table, and stopped beside my chair. Too close. I could smell his cologne, something expensive and understated. "Dinner," he said. It wasn't a question. "I don't date clients," I replied. "I'm not your client. I'm your opponent." His smile turned predatory. "Unless you're afraid you'll lose this round too." I should have walked away. God, I should have walked away. But I was young and brilliant and thought I could handle anything. "Fine, 1 dinner, then you sign the settlement." He held out his hand. "Deal." The moment our palms touched, something shifted. Even now, years later, I wonder if he planned it all from that first handshake. 4 years. That's how long it took for me to forget who I was. I stood on our Malibu terrace, watching the sun bleed into the Pacific, trying to remember the last time I'd felt alive. The diamond on my finger caught the light. 3 carats, flawless, like everything in my life now. Flawless and empty. "Honey, we need to leave for the charity auction in an hour," Nate called from inside. Another auction. Another evening of smiling while society wives complimented my dress and asked about my little volunteer work. They had no idea I'd once made Supreme Court justices sweat during oral arguments. I'd given it all up. For love, I told myself. For our future family. Nate had been so persuasive. Why did we both need careers? Wouldn't I be happier focusing on us? On our foundation? On making a difference in a more meaningful way? The wine glass trembled in my hand as I spotted it. A flash of red silk caught in the passenger seat of his Bentley. Not my color. Never my color. My phone buzzed. An email notification. Strange. I rarely got emails anymore. Who emails a housewife? The sender's address made my blood freeze. Whistleblower3@protonmail.com. "Mrs. Carrington, you need to know what your husband is planning. Check the Denali environmental impact folder on his home server. Password is your wedding date. You were the only honest lawyer in this city. Please stop him." My hand shook as I walked to his study. The server hummed quietly in the corner, innocent looking. I typed our anniversary, October 15th. The folder opened like Pandora's box. Lithium mines, Alaska. Forged environmental assessments. Bribed inspectors. And worse. So much worse. The indigenous communities they'd displaced. The cancer clusters they'd hidden. The government officials they'd bought. Everything I'd fought against. Everything I'd stood for. He hadn't changed. He'd just gotten better at hiding it. I heard his footsteps in the hallway. Quickly, I photographed every document with my phone, my heart hammering against my ribs. The man I'd shared a bed with for 4 years was a monster in an Armani suit. "Darling," his voice floated through the door. "You ready?" I closed the laptop, plastered on a smile, and turned to face my husband. Almost. Just need to fix my lipstick. That night, I played the perfect wife one last time, already planning my war. The ballroom glittered with 1,000 lights and even more lies. Our 4th anniversary gala. Nate had invited everyone who mattered in Los Angeles, senators, judges, titans of industry, all here to celebrate our perfect marriage. I wore the red dress, the one he'd bought me in Paris, the one that made me look like exactly what I'd become, a trophy. But tonight, it felt like armor. Ladies and gentlemen, Nate's voice boomed across the crowd. He stood at the microphone, champagne glass raised, that practiced smile making my stomach turn. 4 years ago, I met a fierce environmental lawyer who thought she could bring down my company. Polite laughter rippled through the room. I forced myself to smile, though my fingers gripped the stem of my glass so hard I thought it might shatter. Instead, he continued, she brought down my defenses. Adriana gave up her career to support mine, to stand beside me, to be the perfect wife every successful man needs. She's living proof that even the most ambitious women eventually realize what truly matters: family, charity, supporting their husband's dreams. The applause was thunderous. I felt every eye on me, waiting for my response. The dutiful wife would blush, maybe wave, certainly stay silent. I wasn't that woman anymore. I stood, my heels clicking against the marble as I approached the microphone. Nate's smile faltered slightly. This wasn't in the script. Thank you, darling, I said, my voice honey-sweet. The microphone caught every word, sent it echoing through the ballroom. You know, it's funny what 4 years of marriage teaches you. For instance, I've learned that some men are so good at keeping secrets, they even fool themselves. The room stirred uneasily. Nate's hand reached for my elbow. I stepped away. I've learned that power without conscience is just destruction in a 3-piece suit. And I've learned that when someone tells you who you are often enough, you might start to believe them. You might forget that you once made grown men tremble in courtrooms. You might forget that you swore an oath to protect this earth and its people. Adriana. Nate's warning came through gritted teeth. I turned to face the crowd, my voice rising. But most importantly, I've learned that if you think wealth and influence give you the right to poison our planet and buy your way out of consequences, well, you're about to receive the most expensive education of your life. I set down the microphone and walked toward the exit, my heels echoing in the stunned silence. At the door, I turned back one last time. Oh, and Nate? That red silk scarf in your car? Tacky. Almost as tacky as the lithium mining operation you're hiding in Alaska. Happy anniversary. The explosion of whispers followed me out into the night. In the parking lot, I pulled out my phone and hit send on 3 things. The divorce papers to his lawyer, the USB drive of evidence to the FBI, and 5 years of meticulously documented crimes to the New York Times. My hands didn't shake anymore. For the first time in years, they felt steady. They felt like mine. New York welcomed me back like a soldier returning from war. My old office building loomed against the gray October sky, its windows reflecting a woman I barely recognized. Thinner, harder, but with fire in her eyes again. Adriana Cole. The security guard's face lit up. Heard you were coming back. About damn time. The elevator ride felt like ascending from purgatory. When the doors opened on the 42nd floor, the first person I saw was Evelyn Black, FBI Special Agent, Financial Crimes Division, and the woman who'd responded to my evidence dump within 6 hours. Miss Cole, she said, extending her hand, I've been hoping to meet you for years. Just wish it were under different circumstances. Her grip was firm, real. After 4 years of air kisses and limp handshakes, it felt like coming home. Call me Adriana, and the circumstances are exactly what they need to be. We commandeered a conference room. Evelyn spread out files like a general planning an invasion. Your evidence is solid, but Nate's lawyers are already circling. We need more if we want to make this stick. I have more. I pulled out my laptop, files I'd been collecting even before I knew why. But first, I need to make some calls. The first was to my brother, Senator Michael Cole of Massachusetts. He answered on the second ring. Jesus, Addie, I saw the news. Are you okay? I'm better than okay. I need you to call in that favor from the Environment Committee chair. Already done. Hearings scheduled for next month. The second call was harder. Judge Patricia Reeves, my mentor, the woman who'd recommended me for partner track. I'm disappointed, Adriana. Her voice was ice. You could have handled this privately. Like Nate handles his toxic waste? In the dark, hoping no one notices the bodies? My voice cracked. You taught me better than that. Or did those lessons only apply when it was convenient? The silence stretched. Then quietly, "What do you need?" "A federal investigation warrant. Tonight. You'll have it in an hour." But the final piece came from unexpected quarters. A knock on the conference room door revealed Daniel Hale, Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist, and the man I'd left for Nate all those years ago. "Heard you were back in town," he said, that crooked smile unchanged. "Thought you might need someone who knows how to make headlines." Looking at him hurt in ways I hadn't expected. The path not taken. But I pushed that aside. "This isn't about us, Daniel." "I know." He set a thick folder on the table. "But it might be about this. Atlas Global's connection to a money laundering ring that goes all the way to Washington. I've been tracking it for 2 years. Just needed an inside source." Evelyn whistled low. "This changes everything." I stared at the documents, pieces clicking into place. My perfect life hadn't just been a lie. It had been a cover story. The war came in whispers before it came in handcuffs. 3 weeks of 18-hour days. 3 weeks of legal briefs and leaked documents, of strategic PR strikes and closed-door depositions. I lived on coffee and rage, slept on my office couch when I slept at all. "You look like hell," Daniel said, finding me at my desk at 3 a.m., surrounded by paper towers. "Thanks, you always knew how to charm a girl." He set down Chinese takeout, from our old place, I noticed. Still remembered my order after all these years. "When's the last time you ate actual food?" I couldn't remember. Everything blurred together in a haze of testimony prep and evidence review. But I couldn't stop. Every document revealed another victim, another community Nate had destroyed for profit. "Adriana," Daniel's hand covered mine, stilling my frantic typing. "You can't save them all if you burn out first." "Watch me," I said, but I took the food. We ate in comfortable silence, like the years hadn't happened. Outside, New York hummed its eternal song of ambition and survival. "Why didn't you ever call?" The question escaped before I could stop it. Daniel studied his lo mein. "You married him 2 months after we broke up." What was I supposed to say? "Hey, congrats on the wedding, but I'm still in love with you." My chest tightened. "Daniel, forget it. Ancient history." He pulled out his laptop. "Want to see something that'll make your night?" The screen showed tomorrow's Times headline. "Atlas Global CEO under federal investigation for environmental crimes, money laundering." Below it, my photo from the anniversary gala. Walking away in that red dress, head high, while Nate's world exploded behind me. "The story goes live at midnight," Daniel said. "Every major outlet will pick it up by morning." I stared at the screen, at the woman I'd become. "He'll destroy me for this. He has resources I can't match." "Maybe, but he doesn't have the truth. And he doesn't have a whole city of people who remember what you did for them before you disappeared into his world." As if to prove his point, my phone buzzed. Text after text. Old colleagues, environmental groups, families I'd helped years ago, all offering support, resources, testimonies. The next morning, Evelyn arrived with a smile sharp as winter. "Just got word. Justice Department's appointing a special prosecutor. They're taking this all the way up." "How far up?" "Remember that judge who signed off on Atlas's Alaska permits? He's sweating bullets, already lawyering up." The photo came that afternoon, sent to my personal email. Me and Daniel, heads bent over takeout containers, his hand on mine. The message was simple. "Whore." I forwarded it to Evelyn. Add blackmail to the charges. But Nate's real retaliation came through the media. By evening, 3 gossip sites ran the same story. Scorned wife's revenge, how Adriana Carrington's jealousy destroyed a Fortune 500 CEO. They painted me as bitter, unstable, grasping for attention. The red silk scarf became a delusion. The environmental crimes became the fantasies of a woman who couldn't handle being replaced. I wanted to scream. Instead, I called a press conference. The morning Atlas Global fell, I wore the same suit I'd worn to that first boardroom meeting. Full circle. FBI agents swarmed the building like antibodies attacking an infection. I watched from across the street, Daniel beside me with his camera crew as they led executives out in handcuffs. Nate emerged last, and even now, even knowing everything, my treacherous heart stuttered. He still looked perfect. Designer suit impeccable, head high, that dangerous smile intact. His eyes found mine across the crowd. For a moment, time stopped. 4 years of lies crystallized in that look. Then the agents guided him toward the waiting car, and the spell broke. "Mr. Carrington!" Reporters surged forward. "Any comment on the allegations?" He paused at the car door, turned to the cameras. "My wife is a troubled woman who couldn't handle the pressures of our lifestyle. I hope she gets the help she needs." The rage that flooded me was volcanic. But before I could respond, Evelyn appeared at my elbow. "Let him talk," she murmured. "We just seized everything. Computers, files, burner phones, even that little black book he thought we didn't know about. The trial moved faster than anyone expected. Nate's associates flipped like dominoes, each trying to cut a better deal than the last. The money trail led to senators, judges, CEOs across 3 continents. But the real victory came in an unexpected form. A young woman approached me after testifying, Maria Santos, whose family's farm had been poisoned by Atlas's illegal dumping. "My daughter's leukemia is in remission," she said, tears streaming. "The settlement money paid for treatment. You saved her life." I held her as she sobbed, remembering why I'd become a lawyer in the first place. Not for the prestige or the power, but for moments like this. The day of Nate's sentencing, I got a call from the federal detention center. "He wants to see you," his lawyer said. "Says he'll only allocute if you're there." Every instinct screamed no, but I needed to see this through. The man in the interview room looked nothing like the Nathaniel Carrington who'd ruled boardrooms. Orange jumpsuit, hollow eyes, hands cuffed to the table. Still beautiful, but broken. "You won," he said simply. "This wasn't a game, Nate. Wasn't it?" His laugh was bitter. "You played it masterfully. The wronged wife, the crusading lawyer, media ate it up. I told the truth. Your truth." He leaned forward, chains rattling. "Want to know the real joke? I actually loved you. In my way. Your way destroyed everything it touched." For the first time since I'd known him, his mask completely dropped. "I know," he whispered. I couldn't stop. The money, the power, it was like breathing. And you were so pure, so fierce. I thought if I could have you, maybe I could be better. But you made me worse instead." He flinched like I'd slapped him. "Yeah, I did." We sat in silence, the weight of 4 years crushing us both. "I'll allocute," he said finally. "Full confession. Names, dates, amounts. Burn it all down." "Why?" His smile was rueful. "Because you were right that night at the gala. Some educations are expensive. This one cost me everything." "Nate, go," he said. "Be the woman I stopped you from being. Save the world or whatever." I stood, paused at the door. "I'm sorry it ended like this." "Don't be. We both knew what this was from the beginning. Predator and prey." His eyes met mine one last time. "Just turns out you were the hunter all along." The death threats started 2 weeks after Nate's conviction. "Home-wrecking bitch." "Gold-digging whore." "You destroyed a great man." Anonymous emails, packages with dead roses, photos of me with my eyes scratched out. The security firm Evelyn recommended was discreet but thorough. "It'll pass," Michael assured me, calling from DC. "News cycle moves on." But it didn't. Not when Nate got 35 years. Not when Atlas Global's stock crashed. Not when 3 senators resigned in disgrace. I became the woman who brought down an empire. Half the world called me a hero. The other half called me names I won't repeat. "You could capitalize on this," my old firm's managing partner suggested over lunch. "Book deals, speaking tours, CNN contributor. Name your price." I pushed salmon around my plate, appetite gone. "I'm not for sale." "Everyone's for sale, Adriana. Just depends on the currency." That night, I found myself in Central Park, walking the paths I'd haunted as a young associate. The city hummed around me, indifferent to my chaos. "Thought I might find you here." Daniel appeared beside me, hands in his pockets. We'd been careful since the story broke. No ammunition for those calling me a vindictive slut, but careful was exhausting. "Rough day?" "Someone sent a deepfake to my mother. Me in a porn video. She's 73, Daniel. She didn't need to see that." "Jesus." He pulled me into a hug, and I let myself break for just a moment. "I'm so sorry." Am I a terrible person? The question escaped before I could stop it. For bringing him down? For destroying all those lives? "Hey," he pulled back, hands on my shoulders. "You didn't destroy anything. You revealed what was already rotten. That takes courage most people don't have." "Then why do I feel so empty?" His eyes searched mine. "Because you spent 4 years being someone else. It takes time to remember who you are." A year. That's what it took. A year of therapy, of small victories and large setbacks, of learning to sleep without checking the locks 12 times, of remembering how to trust my own judgment. The congressional appointment came as a surprise. Special Counsel for Environmental Justice, a new position created in the wake of the Atlas scandal. "You sure about this?" Daniel asked over dinner, our first official date since everything ended. "Government work is thankless." "So is being Nate's wife." I traced the rim of my wine glass. "At least this time, I'll be thankless with a purpose." He reached across the table, took my hand. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. Always have been. Even when I chose him? Even then. You were searching for something. Power, maybe? Or safety. We all make choices that seem right at the time. What were you searching for, all those years? His smile was sad. You, always you. Just took you a while to come back. Brooklyn Bridge at sunset was a cliché, but I didn't care. Some clichés exist because they're true. 2 years after that awful anniversary gala, I stood at the same spot where Nate had proposed. Full circle, but different. The woman who'd said yes that night was a ghost. The woman standing here now was scarred but whole, broken but rebuilt. A phoenix, if phoenixes wore practical pumps and carried briefcases full of environmental legislation. Ms. Cole? A young woman approached hesitantly. I'm sorry to bother you, but are you Adriana Cole, the lawyer who took down Atlas Global? I tensed, waiting for the inevitable. Another accusation, another reminder of my betrayal. My name's Jennifer. I wanted to thank you. My hometown was one of the places they were dumping. Kids were getting sick and nobody would listen. Until you. She thrust out her hand and I shook it, throat tight. I'm starting law school next fall, she continued. Environmental law, because of you. You showed me we don't have to accept the world as it is. After she left, I stood there, city lights beginning to flicker on like stars coming down to earth. My phone buzzed. Daniel, asking about dinner. The committee wanted my report on the new emissions standards by Monday. Life, moving forward. A message popped up from an unknown number. My finger hesitated, then opened it. Saw the news about the clean water bill. You did it? And Nate. From federal prison, somehow. I stared at the words, waiting for the familiar rage. Instead, I felt nothing. He was just a ghost now. A cautionary tale in an orange jumpsuit. I deleted the message and called Daniel. Thai food? That place on Houston? You read my mind. See you in 20. The wind picked up, sending my hair flying. I could hear Nate's voice from that long ago night. You're too fierce for your own good, Adriana. Someone needs to tame you. He'd been wrong. I wasn't meant to be tamed. I was meant to hunt, to protect, to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves. The cage he'd built had been gilded and comfortable, but it was still a cage. They thought they had me locked away, I whispered to the city, to the ghosts, to the woman I used to be. They forgot. I was born to be the predator. A couple passed by, arguing about dinner plans. Normal problems, beautiful problems. I smiled, remembering when my biggest worry was which charity gala to attend. That life felt like a movie I'd watched once. Glamorous, hollow, ultimately forgettable. This life, messy and difficult and real, was the one I'd chosen, the one I'd fought for. My heels clicked against the bridge as I walked back toward Brooklyn, toward dinner with a good man, toward a job that mattered, toward a future I was building one case at a time. Behind me, Manhattan glittered like a promise. Ahead, the night stretched full of possibility. I was Adriana Cole. I'd been a trophy wife, a cautionary tale, a vengeful ex, a hero, a villain. But underneath it all, I was what I'd always been, a woman who refused to be anyone's prey. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything.
Power built on lies will always collapse. And sometimes, you have to set the match yourself. Never let anyone convince you that your worth depends on them. Stand your ground, protect your values, and remember, silence may keep the peace, but truth will set you free.